Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burbies 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Time check for you, 12 hours 9. My name is Amrita Koshal, and it is now time for your main newscast in detail. PPPC wants to give itself power to override oil money rules. It can withdraw any amount as it sees fit for emergency and puts no jail time for abuse of mechanism. In the Natural Resource Fund Bill 2021, the PPPC administration has proposed several penalties for an official who discloses confidential information or provides misleading data about the nation's oil money. Noticeably absent, however, is a fine or jail time for anyone found guilty of abusing or misappropriating the oil revenues. A person who gives information that is materially false or misleading or knowingly includes or permits to be included in any report or document information that is materially false or misleading commits an offense and is liable on conviction on indictment to a fine of $10 million and to imprisonment for 5 years. It is significant to note that the current NRF legislation, which the NRF bill will replace, does not have any punishment for the abuse of the oil fund. When Guyana had pursued the creation of its first NRF legislation back in 2018, it was warned to have clear penalties in place for the abuse of the oil fund. This advice was provided by the Natural Resource Governance Institute, which also cited numerous examples from around the world on how often natural resource funds become easily mismanaged and the perpetrators go unpunished. Caribbean organizations object to Yellowtail EIA, cites lack of consultations with region on oil spill risks. As criticisms continue to pour down on Exxon's Yellowtail development environmental impact assessment, an international organization, Environmental Law Alliance Worldwide, has said that the consultancy firm Environmental Resources Management's conclusions on marine mammals is not only incorrect, but unsupported by evidence. Melinda Janke, an international lawyer, has submitted to the EPA that ESSO, which will be undertaking the Yellowtail project in Guyana's waters, must first get its EIA right before permits are granted. In her submissions to the EPA, the international lawyer of over 30 years said, "It is clear that the EIA produced by ERM contains conclusions that are contrary to science, gives assurances that are unsupported by evidence, and lacks the technical and other data necessary to provide an adequate professional assessment of the environmental impacts of the proposed Yellowtail project." And we also now tell you that the PNCR must take new road with new leadership, says chairman, as party delegates vote for change at 21st Biennial Congress. Aubrey Norton has been declared the new leader of the PNCR after securing more than 70% of the total votes cast for the position. Norton will be replacing the party's incumbent leader, David Granger, who did not contest. Meanwhile, out of those who contested for the post of chairperson, Sherwin Holder was the clear choice. Holder will be replacing the incumbent chair, Volda Lawrence, who did not contest, although nominated. Renovated $160 million US and counting CJIA, Parliament approves $420 million for baggage handling system that should have been catered for in initial project. Last Thursday, the National Assembly approved the sum of $420 million in supplementary funds for the renovated $160 million US and counting Chedijagan International Airport. Minister of Public Works Bishop Juan Edgehill noted that the supplementary fund that he is requesting is to facilitate the installation of a modern baggage handling system, something that should have been catered for in the initial project. Edgehill said that, unashamedly, in the revised airport contract that the government inherited from the previous administration, there was no provision for a baggage handling system when you check in at the airline. The airport expansion project commenced in 2011 and was expected to be a $150 million venture. However, to date, more than $160 million has already been spent on the contract. Time check for you, 12 hours 14. We will return with more news for you shortly after the break.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
My name is Amrita Koshal, and we now return with your main newscast in detail. Guyana to tap $47 million Caribbean Development Basic Needs Trust Fund program. One of the Caribbean's longest-running poverty reduction programs, the Caribbean Development Bank's Basic Needs Trust Fund launched its 10th cycle last week, with over $47 million committed to supporting projects in 9 countries across the region. Already, 123 sub-projects are in the pipeline for this cycle of the BNTF, which will run until December 31st, 2024. Contributors to CDB's Special Development Fund, which funds the BNTF, approved $40 million, with the remainder coming from 9 participating countries, including Guyana. President of the bank, Dr. Jean Leon, urged development actors in the region, including at the bank, to explore how development programs like the BNTF can be expanded and retrofitted to meet the changing needs of the region. Guyana Police Force distributes over $32 million to outstanding cops. The Guyana Police Force last week handed out approximately $32.6 million in prizes to ranks for their outstanding performances during the year. The ranks received awards in several categories, including Best Cop. Acting Commissioner of Police Nigel Hoppy stated that the yearly ceremony is one which will continue to boost the morale of police officers in the execution of their various duties. Best Cop of the Year, Sergeant Molchan Jadunandan, received a trophy and a sum of money for his hard work and dedication throughout the year. The sergeant encouraged his colleagues to remain dedicated, hardworking, and willing, which will see them achieving success. Moving on, 16 companies bid lower than government engineers $14 million to clean Cummings Canal. Out of the 23 companies which bid to do monthly maintenance cleaning of Cummings Canal, 16 of them tendered lower than the government engineer's estimate of $14 million. This is a project which is undertaken by the National Drainage and Irrigation Authority, Ministry of Agriculture. The cleaning is scheduled for the period January to December 2022. Gearing up for the rainy season in the coming months, NDIA had issued invitation for bids for cleaning of several drains, canals, streets, and alleyways around the city in bid to prevent flooding. It was noted by the Chief Hydromet Officer, Dr. Garvin Cummings, Guyana can see higher than normal levels of rainfall, similar to what it experienced early in the year. And we now tell you that the Pesticide Board new administrative building to cost over $98 million. The construction of a new administrative building for the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board is estimated to cost some $98,693,707. The edifice will be constructed in the Nari compound, East Coast, Demerara. According to the invitation for bids, it was stated that interested bidders may peruse the bid document at the procuring entity and uplift a complete set of the bidding documents upon the payment of a non-refundable fee in the amount of 5,000 Guyana dollars from the Pesticides and Toxic Chemicals Control Board at its Nari compound. All bidders are expected to submit their bids together with the bid security for the amount of 1.5% of the bid price and below and 2% of bid price Guyana dollars no later than 9 hours on the 18th of January 2022. And now time for your COVID-19 update. The Health Ministry yesterday recorded 2 new COVID-19 related deaths, taking the national death toll to 1,030. 53 new cases were also recorded, which takes active cases to 798. There are 10 persons in the ICU, 39 in institutional quarantine, and 749 in home isolation. To date, the country has seen 37,042 recoveries. We now turn your attention to page 7 of the Kaieteur News, dedicated to being blunt. The news is that Exxon will supply the national grid with solar power. Exxon takes billions and gives Guyanese this piece of Baku charity. We will take the blackouts and darkness. Just give us back some of our own billions. Don't insult us with these pennies of charity. Time check for you, 12 hours 20. My name is Amrita Koshal, and thank you for joining us for your main newscast in detail right here on Kaieteur Radio.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.